The society of the Garou is what keeps werewolves from devolving fully into monsters. If they relied only on their rage and destructive impulses, Garou would be bestial beyond reason. Hello, and welcome to my new lore video on Werewolf the Apocalypse. In the last video, we talked about the Litany, and in this video, we'll talk about Garou society. Communication is a critical aspect to any society, and werewolves have a number of ways to communicate. Homids know at least one of the languages of the human world, and most metis learn the same. Lupus can communicate very simply when they are in wolf form, often by using a great deal of body language. Each breed can learn the other's language, but conversation can be difficult. So werewolves have developed a separate language over thousands of years to bridge the gap. Galliards know this worldwide language as the High Tongue, or Garou tongue. All Garou are taught the High Tongue immediately following their rite of passage, although differences in regional accent and dialect do come up. Garou language depends as much on body language and tone as on actual words. Much of it is instinctive, accented by pheromones, growls, and whines. A few spoken words cannot be reproduced by a human or wolf throat, as they require partial transformation to articulate. These words represent some of the loftiest concepts tied to Garou culture. Some Lupus never really master this language. They prefer to speak as simply and plainly as wolves do. Packs are the smallest social unit and the very foundation of Garou society. The strength of the wolf is the pack, and werewolves are no different. Septs may be conquered and tribes may argue, but a pack works together despite all adversity. Werewolves from tribes that are bitter rivals may be closer than blood kin when they have run in a pack for long enough. Packs range in size, and usually each of the 5 auspices has a representative, but necessity may demand it is simply made up of whatever young Garou have been recently gathered. Each pack dedicates itself to a particular totem when it is first formed, and many of these totems are great animal spirits, such as raven or bear. Others are elemental entities such as Grandfather Thunder, or spirits of mythic forms such as Pegasus and Chimera. During an intense and mystical rite, the pack pledges fealty to a patron whose aims and strengths reflect their own purpose. The pack then receives a totem spirit, a spiritual incarnation/servitor of the totem that acts as their guardian, guides them through the spirit world, and even lends them mystical power. Some pack bonds are lifelong. Others are content to disband after many years of cooperation as they achieve or give up on ambitions. If the pack makes this decision, such as when their purpose is accomplished, they ceremonially release their totem spirit. Werewolves need strong leaders. A strong chain of command helps them focus their rage with discipline, without the stress of wondering who to lead and who to obey. In most small gatherings, an alpha proves their dominance by brute force. In larger gatherings, however, doing so is impractical. If a ruler has to fight off rivals constantly, they will soon become too weak to govern properly. Garou society establishes hierarchy through a system of renown, a measure of a hero's deeds and service to their sept. Constant infighting wounds and weakens a sept, but the system channels such energies in a positive direction. A werewolf's instinct and thousands of years of tribal conditioning reinforce the need for a hierarchy. Pack instincts even demand it. Every werewolf has their place. Elders rarely need to demonstrate power by abusing their lessers, and their vassals are usually content to serve. Although it may seem abusive and unequal to many modern Garou, the hierarchy does have its roots in merit. The strongest and wisest rise to the top, or so the ideal goes, and based on their renown, each werewolf also holds a certain rank in Garou society, often being addressed by their proper title. It tends to go like this. Cubs are at the bottom of the pecking order, treated as little more than children. They're eager to learn, and they ask many questions. Once a cub completes their rite of passage, they become Cleath, a young Garou enlisted continually to perform all sorts of tasks for their sept. Some travel all over the world, completing missions and learning about werewolf society. As Cleath continue to gain esteem, they eventually become Fostern. These Garou have risen high enough to act as emissaries between septs. At this stage in life, an entire pack may undergo a period of fosterage in a distant cairn. Adren outrank Fostern, often taking on some of the lesser political positions in a sept. By this time, a pack of Adren usually limits its travel to a handful of cairns due to the usual development of political rivalries. Athro outrank all the ones previously mentioned. They are typically involved in some of the most perilous and compelling adventures their tribes can offer. Only the most esteemed and highest-ranking Garou are addressed as elders. Even if an elder does not currently serve as a tribal elder, as a sept leader or some other esteemed position, a werewolf with enough renown is still treated with the greatest respect. When two Garou of vastly different rank interact, as in a conversation between young Cleath and their elders, their relative positions are fairly obvious. When two werewolves have roughly the same rank or renown, social niceties are not so clean-cut. When heroes of equal status disagree, matters may come to blows. Leadership may pass from one werewolf to the next based on immediate need. In large groups, the leader may even change from hour to hour. A werewolf's moon sign, or auspice, is the first qualification. For instance, the highest-ranking Arun will usually lead a tribe or sept in battle. Once the skirmish is over, if the group is confronted by a devious group of spirits, a clever Theurge challenges the warrior in a riddle contest to claim the leadership role. If negotiating skills are needed shortly thereafter, a Philodox, known for their social acumen, might then challenge the alpha to a different type of contest. When a Garou is especially renowned for their skills, a wise rival steps down from a challenge once they realize they're outclassed. It should be said that outright challenges are rarely necessary at the pack level, where members already know one another's capabilities intimately. By the law of the litany, when a group isn't in the middle of immediate danger, its leader is open to be challenged at any time. Millennia of conflict have refined three particularly common methods of testing dominance: facedown, gamecraft, and duel. The facedown is a contest of wills. The challenger initiates it by growling at his opponent and staring him in the eye with an unblinking gaze. The first werewolf to back down loses. A simple contest, but still potentially dangerous. Gamecraft is a test of skill, cunning, or wits. It may be a riddle contest, a game of chess, a test of knowledge, or some similar mental exercise. The victor is the one who demonstrates superior intellect or sometimes cunning. The duel is straightforward single combat. The challenged Garou may choose the type of weapons used. Such contests are rarely to the death, at least formally, and the loser of a test of dominance must show some sign of submission immediately, such as kneeling, falling to the ground, exposing the throat, or lowering the head and whimpering. To keep a law, one must be willing to enforce it. The Garou's code of punishment ranges from simple and quick reprimands for minor crimes and mistakes to elaborate trials or ordeals for complicated transgressions. Loss of renown, the measure of a shapeshifter's place in their society, is a common punishment, but when the litany is violated, the consequences are usually more severe. Each sept and tribe has its own methods of conducting trials. Some prefer trial by combat, some favor cunning, elaborate arguments, ensnaring their opponents within their words, and intimidating into silence those who try to circumvent the process. Others convene a jury of peers to pass judgment or summon spirits to discern the truth. One of the worst punishments is formal ostracism, an offense feared more than a clean death. Most Garou believe that great heroes are reborn. Some even claim to have visions of past lives. An outcast, declared a rogue or ronin, is shut out forever from their brothers and sisters. Unless they can commit some great deed to prove their valor, they remain mistrusted and alone. Sadly, fatalistic werewolves convince themselves that there is no future for the Garou as the apocalypse draws closer. Entire packs of ronin now wander the earth, rejecting the strictures of the litany completely. Septs are the societies that form around cairns, a sacred place to the Garou where they can meet and contact the spirit realms. The oldest septs are dominated by one or two tribes, usually not far from their tribal homelands. These days, most septs are increasingly multi-tribal. Only with the strength of diversity can the Garou hope to overcome the peril of their dwindling numbers. Every sept has a sept leader, the overall master who organizes the sept and directs the local packs, and the primary task of a sept is guarding its cairn. The elders of a sept may welcome a wandering pack, allowing them a place to rest and perhaps granting some resources for their errand, and older Garou settle down eventually into one sept that they particularly favor, usually assuming a political position there. Werewolves gather regularly in Moots, events that serve a variety of social, political, and religious functions. These gatherings reinforce the common ties that all Garou share by emphasizing ritual, purpose, and camaraderie. Moots usually convene every full moon or when the Sept has need for a specific gathering. The Moot is a vital function for any werewolf who seeks to earn renown, hear news of the war from other Septs, or simply continue to prove their good standing among allies. Moots always take place at cairns, sometimes with powerful spirits summoned as part of the proceedings. Theurges perform great rites, Philodocs oversee protocol and any pronouncements of judgment necessary, Galliards exchange lore and oversee ceremonies, and Arun organize duels and keep an eye on most defenses. The Moot is as formal an affair as Garou ever hold, though the Ragabash are certain to make sure that the voice of common sense can still be free to undercut poor displays of policy. Werewolves dispatch their packs on dangerous tasks, celebrate heroes who have returned triumphant, argue or brawl over political matters, and judge those Garou who've been accused of violating the litany. Most importantly, the spiritual energy expended keeps the cairn alive, for as the Garou prosper, so do the sacred sites they attend. The greatest moots typically end with a revel, in which werewolves transform into Krynos form and run madly about the area to clear away anything that may pose a threat. The revel isn't a pack affair. The Sept begins the run as one, then fragments into smaller groups as the night proceeds. Most run themselves to exhaustion, but the strongest continue until the dawn, immediately gaining renown for their great stamina and fervor. The most overreaching social unit in Garou society is the tribe. The tribe's bonds are familial and ideological and inspire loyalty and schisms. A tribe's ideology has a great impact on those Septs where the tribe is strong. Young Cleath serve their pack first and their Sept second, but when a tribe has a pressing issue that only werewolves of that tribe can truly understand, an elder may call upon the tribe's Cleath to aid them. Every tribe also includes smaller societies, groups of werewolves who share a common purpose but who don't necessarily belong to the same pack. These groups are known as camps. In the next Werewolf the Apocalypse lore video, we'll be going more in depth into the worm and its corruption. I make videos multiple times a week and every Wednesday is Werewolf Wednesday, so if you enjoy what I do, please consider subscribing. Thank you so very much for watching. Now ask yourselves this, Garou. When will you rage?